Yes, what's up everybody? Paul Hickey here with NoOffSeason.com. Welcome to episode 6 of the F1 Card Strategy Show right here on the NoOffSeason.com Sports Card Network Sports Card Strategy Show feed. We are super happy to have you, and we're going to talk F1 today. I am jacked up about this day in F1 because as we record and go live today, we've got some Oscar Piastri news. Oscar is a guy that has been a favorite of mine for several months now. He's the former F3 and F2 champ, has dominated basically every circuit that he's ever driven on, and he has not driven F1 yet that I know of. He's not been called up for a race, and he does not have a permanent seat yet. But there was an announcement 2 hours ago. Today's Tuesday, August 2nd, for those of you wondering. If you're listening on this on Spotify or Apple after the fact and not watching the live stream, 2 hours ago, it was announced that, and here we go. I'm going to bring in my co-host, Greg Lanctot. What up, Greg? How you doing, man?
What a day in the F1 world.
I know. I was just about to talk about Oscar. 2 hours ago, there was an announcement that he would drive for Alpine next year and have a seat with Ocon, right? And then 37 minutes ago, there was a report from planetf1.com. So just to clear things up, motorsport.com and F1, Formula1.com reported that Piastri was Fernando Alonso's replacement for 2023. I started updating Piastri's profile on the Sports Card Investment Report at NoOffSeason.com, and then I went on to some forums and started talking about it, and somebody said, hey, look, again, there's just been some news that Piastri doesn't want to drive for Alpine in 2023. So now, I won't steal the thunder here, Greg, from you. You can elaborate on this, but planetf1.com is saying that Piastri doesn't want to drive for Alpine. What's up with this, man?
Well, the news broke out a few hours ago by Alpine themselves saying that Oscar Piastri was signed and would be driving with them as their second driver right next to Esteban Ocon for the 2023 season. And we knew that Piastri would be driving in F1 next season. We just didn't know where. A couple of weeks ago, we remember, we didn't even know if Nicholas Latifi was going to finish the season in his Williams seat. And the talks were that Piastri was going to be loaned to Williams for that season. And the plan was to keep Fernando Alonso for another season. But then what happened in the past days is that Alonso decided to sign long-term with Aston Martin, the rival team right next to Alpine, and opening the door for Piastri. So Piastri had the door wide open to sign with Alpine, but in the last few hours, there have been some rumors that he was negotiating with McLaren, that there were talks that Piastri was most probably going to grab the second seat also at McLaren, bringing him alongside Lando Norris. And then Alpine came out with that press release that Oscar Piastri was going to drive for them for next season, which sealed the case for everyone. Everyone was like, okay, cool. Piastri's going there next year. We're going to see him in F1. And then a few journalists and insiders from the F1 planet just turned around and said, hey, we're in the middle of the night in Australia where Piastri lives, and his agent is there, Mark Webber, who's also an ex-F1 driver. It's the middle of the night. They're nowhere to be found. We have no news from both of them. And in the press release, there is absolutely no sign of Piastri. There's no quote from either Piastri or his agent, Webber. Therefore, a couple of questions were raised. And as you said, now 40 minutes ago, we just had the news that broke out. Piastri himself went to Twitter and tweeted, let me read this for you. I'm going to take it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna show my screen here so that the audience on YouTube can see it in the Facebook group. Yep.
So I understand that without my agreement, Alpine F1 have put out a press release late this afternoon that I am driving for them next year. This is wrong, and I have not signed a contract with Alpine for 2023. I will not be driving for Alpine next year. Wow.
This is crazy.
Wow, what a bomb. And now Alpine just fumbled big time. That's even worse than any Ferrari strategist. It's crazy. So you just lost a two-time world champion that was telling you he was negotiating and wanted to pursue his career with you. The negotiations ended. Now you lost him to a rival team to have some spot, reserved for your young driver that's pushing for an F1 seat. And you dropped the ball, and now he said he's not going to be driving for you guys. So that means that
this is insane about Piastri.
I'm sorry about that.
Sorry. There was a little blip there in our connection, so we overlapped. But I was just saying, I went from really excited about Piastri having an F1 seat next year to incredibly pumped and excited that there's this drama over him, because I feel like now it's like the more drama, the better with the hype cycle for cards.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is almost the best possible scenario for people holding Oscar cards right now, because man, what a hype cycle. He's going to be in the news for, until this whole thing shakes out, I'm sure, which is great probably for his eBay search volume. And if you've been holding Oscar cards and you went through a little dip after the 2021 release came out early in the year, this could be a great time to sell Oscar. I'm jumping right into it. What do you think about that?
I would probably wait a day or two. Now we're recording all of this, and we're August 2nd.
Yeah.
It's 3:07 Eastern Time PM. I would probably wait a day or two for the speculation to rise, or not even, because oh my god, no, I would I don't know.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying
there.
Yeah,
there's two plays. I mean, you have many Oscar Piastri cards. I don't own any. I put some of my money on Theo Pourchaire, who's back in the F2 championship by winning last weekend, which was a good move. I'm very happy about this. But anyway, Piastri, I would probably sell some of my cards now and hold some others long term. So imagine when he lands the seat, let's say at McLaren, and next year there's this kind of bromance, this kind of vibe between Piastri and Norris, and both of them perform well, his card market's going to go up. But the card market is also based on performance in F1, as in any other sport. But people, not you and I talking about this, that we're following F1, and the diehard F1 fans that know all of Lando Norris's talent, all of George Russell's talent, Lewis, and all that stuff. People want to see wins. And we saw that with Charles Leclerc at the beginning of the season, how his cards were so high, unaffordable, and now his card market crashed because he's not winning anymore. And he's not anywhere near winning the championship this year because Max has 80 points in front of him, and he's not going to catch up. That's for sure, because Ferrari is blowing up every single strategy and chance he has to win. So all of that being said, I made a huge detour there to say that I would probably sell most of my cards now and probably hold on to one or two to the day when he wins a race, or he's in a race for the championship. And that could take a long, long, long time.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think that's the two plays is like sell now, buy back in later when there's less of a hype cycle if you believe in him long term. And then in that case, hold those cards until he wins a race, which is going to be a while. Or just sell now and just be happy with hopefully whatever profit that you can make off of it, because I don't think hype cycles like this come along very often. They come, to your point, when there's wins, but when else do they come? They come when somebody gets called up to F1, a seat's announced, or there's some kind of drama around them that will increase the eBay search volume organically. And so I think you're right, though. I mean, you said wait a few days. I think I think you can list them now, and this hype cycle will continue for a few days while this whole thing shakes out. It's
Well,
just
we don't know
it
when
has
it could shake out. If I would have told you that scenario 2 days ago, you would have laughed to my face and say, "Hey, man, it's never gonna happen." Well, guess what? It happened. So
yeah.
now we're supposed to be in that summer break for 4 weeks, and it's been all over the news for 24 hours.
Yeah, the other thing interesting, like we can wrap up the conversation on Oscar or we can keep going. But before we wrap up the conversation on Oscar, I want to show some market movers data about Oscar. I thought this was interesting because as I was prepping for today's show, if you're a marketmoversapp.com subscriber, you can see this view in your own dashboard. If you're not, you can look at my screen right now. And if you want to join Market Movers, get your first month for only $1 by using the promo code No Offseason. But I found this really cool. So Oscar's been hot for a while. Like you and I, this is like the 17th time we've talked about Oscar. So he's no new topic on this show, but that doesn't mean that he's always been hot in the world, right? Like he's someone that we talk about often, but we've also talked about him being ice cold in terms of like his value, because he wasn't really relevant at all while he was kind of training as a backup driver and stuff like that for some F1 squads. Anyway, he's been hot for a while. So before this news today about Oscar, 8 of his cards have changed. Like his top 8 cards in Market Movers have been up 31% for the last 30 days. And even in the last 7 days, he's been one of the hottest. In the last 14 days, he's been up 21%. So as you get even closer to today, this is without today's news, obviously. I looked at this. Well, not obviously. Let me clarify. I looked at this before the news broke. And so this is what the data was even before the news broke. And I don't know how often Market Mover, like I don't know how many Oscar cards have even sold in the last 2 hours. I can't imagine that many. I think some will definitely sell throughout the next 24 hours as this news shakes out. But my point is Oscar's been hot with the rumors of like where he's going to be. The rumors and speculation will continue, which should only bring more eBay search volume to his cards, should create this hype cycle that drives his prices higher and higher. I'm with you. I think some of them might be like 80 to 90% of them to 100%, depending on who you are, what cards you have, what your strategy is, and then go ahead and buy back in later. But I just think it's interesting that Oscar's had this hype, now there's actual news around it. And anecdotally, that was some real data, but anecdotally, I was at the National talking to one of our audience members, M. Carius 11. He introduced me to his son who's into F1. I said, "Who's your favorite driver?" He said, "Lando." I said, "That's cool. I like Oscar." When I said Oscar, that kid got super hype. I'm not sure how old he is, but he's a youngster and he got super hype about Oscar. So just anecdotally, if Oscar landed at McLaren with Lando, the young generation of F1 fans, could that become a favorite team? What do you think?
Oh, of course. And it's going to help. It's also going to help Lando's market that's actually criminally low right now. It's insane. If you want a good buy that I think it is going to go back up, just go buy his Sapphire Portrait PSA 10 base portrait. It was $500 in April. Now it's $225 because McLaren is just like a, I don't know, tractor. It's nothing. And Lando is going to be a fan. This guy, Lando Norris, is building the future of the sport. Look at how he acts around everyone else. He is so funny on media. Everyone likes Lando. I don't know any driver. Usually you can say that there's some tension between some of them, but it's not the case with Lando. Everyone likes him on the grid. Every F1 fan likes Lando as well. He's also building the future of the sport with Quadrant, his e-racing company that he's doing right now. He has sponsored drivers in e-racing events. That's something he loves to do with Charles, with George, with Max as well, and all of these other young drivers. Lando is the future of Formula One. So right now, he might not be winning. He might not win a race this season. He's doing miracles in this McLaren car, but next year it's going to be way more competitive, and it's just going to help his market. So Lando Norris for me is a huge investment. That's probably the F1 driver I have the most investment in, even more than Lewis Hamilton. And I'm not selling at the moment. I'm still buying Lando.
I love that, Greg. I love that. Way to bring it strong with the call on Lando. We need to be outspoken about who to buy low. And so I love that you went with Lando and you went with the data on the base Sapphire PSA 10, I think. And so Market Movers also has this deals section. I showed you the F1 data kind of overall a minute ago, but Market Movers has this deals section, which is really cool. And this Lando, just the base, I'm not a huge fan of just the base cards, but the base PSA 10 is down 30% from a buy it now standpoint compared to its last buy it now. You can't make an offer on this one in particular, but $120 for a Lando 2020 Topps Chrome Formula One base PSA 10, down from $150. So definitely, you're right. Lando seems to be low, seems to be a good buy, and why not invest, like you say, in the future of F1? It sounds like we probably need to move him up from number 6, potentially look at moving him up. It's tough though, because you got Lewis, Max, I think we got Leclerc and Oscar as the 5 ahead of Lando, and so we need to probably re-rank or take a look at that. But that's a good call. I like that.
Well, I mean, Lewis and Max are always going to be good investments. I think even though Max is a 2-time champ, he will never get he doesn't have the star power that Lando and Lewis have. And there's not much. I mean, look at the drivers, and it doesn't say anything with his card market, but look at the star power that Daniel Ricciardo has. He's just too old because he's been a big thing and he was winning races before the F1 card market was a thing. Mm-hmm. But other than that, when you look at Lewis, he has a huge star power. People hate him or love him or whatever. They're certainly not indifferent to Lewis Hamilton. And Lando, huge card market. And huge potential as well. And Max performs on track. That's undeniable, but he doesn't have that star power as well. So I think that in a certain point in time when Lando, just look on social media, what happened after Max winning the last Grand Prix. They were just kidding with one another. Lando said there's now 27 wins between me and Max, as Max having 27 and Lando 0. And then Max saying, oh, I'm just trying to get them before you start taking them away from me. And McLaren reposting the picture saying, hey, this is a picture of Lando Norris with a huge fan. So that's the kind of vibe that we have now. It's not a short-term flip. If you want to buy this card and flip it in 3 months, but Lando Norris, for me, it's not going to take long before he starts winning races. And if he has that kind of teammate as talented as Oscar Piastri right next to him, it's going to help him big time to achieve that.
That's awesome. Well, I am now officially rooting for Oscar to sign and get a seat with McLaren. That would be cool. That would be fun. I think that'd be great for the sport. Yeah, that'd be great. I think it'd be great for the sport for sure. And for cards. Because I know there's a lot of people pulling for Lando and for Oscar in the F1 card market, investing and collecting. So yeah, good stuff. You mentioned Lewis there for a second. It's hard not to mention Lewis on this show. He in other news, just announced that he is part of the ownership group for the Denver Broncos. I don't know the details of that announcement, but What do you know, Greg, about that? And what do you think about Lewis? We know Lewis is big in culture, and we know that he's a good long-term investment for not only being the GOAT, arguably the greatest F1 driver of all time, but also his relevance in culture. So, do you think this Denver Broncos announcement, what significance do you think it has on like his short-term and or his long-term F1 card value?
I don't know if it's going to make his card market move right now. I think him getting back to winning, he's been on back-to-back second places right now on the podium, which is very, very good. He now has more podiums than Charles Leclerc even this season, which is completely insane when you think where Ferrari
quietly
was
doing so.
Oh
Yeah.
my God! When you look at what it was at the beginning of the season and what it is now, I mean, if you would have thought that at halfway point of the season, Lewis would have had more podiums than Charles, no one would have believed that. Well, Lewis wants to stay relevant, and he will stay relevant after his career. So the best time to invest in Lewis was probably when these boxes came out in 2020, and now they're almost unbuyable depending on your budget.
Yeah.
I don't have any budget to rip a $3,000 box. I don't know about you, Paul, but anyway. And
Yeah.
And right now there's a few good 2020 cards you can buy from Lewis, and him being a part owner of the Denver Broncos just puts him right in the alley with Michael Jordan, with there's also Serena and Venus Williams, LeBron James, these athletes that make sure that they have good investment, that they stay relevant also in the sports world, and that's a very, very good thing for card market long term.
Yeah, the Denver Broncos have won 3 Super Bowls that I can think of in my lifetime. 2 with John Elway, 1 with Peyton Manning, and they got Russell Wilson this year. And I know this is the F1 Card Strategy Show, so I won't talk about football. But picturing a Super Bowl trophy being handed to Russell Wilson and the ownership group of the Denver Broncos, which includes Lewis Hamilton, that would be pretty sick, and that would be pretty cool for his F1 fans and card holders for sure. So
I think it's very
all the different
unlikely it's going to
possibilities.
happen, but I still wish it would happen.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of crazy to think that exactly Russell Wilson could hand out the trophy to Lewis Hamilton. That would be crazy. Just crazy.
So I know you wanted to talk. There's other news too. There's Sebastian Vettel announcing his retirement, and then there's Fernando Alonso switching teams. So I'll let you take the lead on those two. Tell us about those 2 pieces of news and what they mean for F1, but also maybe what they might mean for certain people's cards and plays that can be made with cards.
The F1 card market is very, very young still. So having these former world champions as Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso being in the news could probably help in any other sports market, could help them, gain value. But I don't know about these guys. Like I said, Fernando Alonso, his only official cards are in the 2021 set because he was out when they produced the 2020 Topps Chrome set, which was the first ever Topps license set. So there's some kind of value there as to find a Fernando Alonso numbered card or high end market. Did you want to?
There is a 2005 Futura Grand Prix base.
Yes, that's that. But that's kind of
it. Is that it?
I don't want to say a grail card, but when you look at the Futera 2006 Lewis Hamilton cards, it's
well. I mean, if you look at market movers, there's one available in the deals section for $92.54. I don't know the significance of that dollar amount, but there's one available right now, Greg, if you want to go snag it on eBay.
Well, I'm not investing in him, but I mean, if you, that could be that
no, it's
could
raw.
be interesting, you know, because a lot of people are thinking the F1 card market right now, you know, a lot of the newcomers, the investors, the F1 fans wanted to have, you know, the best Lewis card they could get. George, Lando, Max, Charles, Carlos, all of these drivers. And now the prospecting started. So everyone wanted to get Oscar, of course,
Yep.
Theo Pourchaire, who is back in the race for winning the F2 championship, and we'll probably get a seat in F1. We'll see about that. And by the way, keep your eyes on Logan Sargent.
Okay.
Keep your eyes on this kid. This kid is an American. Williams is owned by Americans, and there's 3 races on American soil next year. Right now, I think his only card available is at Tops Now on his first win in F2. That could be an interesting play there. You buy it now, you grade it, and you flip it when he's in F1. But probably next year on the next Top Scrum set 2022, could be a good rip to get one of his cards, his rookie cards, if he lands that seat in F1. But anyway.
It's funny that you mentioned Logan Sargent, because there's an article today, August 2nd, that Formula 2 driver Logan Sargent is set to drive for Williams during Austin.
That's why you hire me, buddy.
In October. So good work.
That's why you hire me, buddy.
Nice work. Yeah.
I know my stuff. I'm trying to
You know your stuff. You know your stuff.
My stuff.
We're going to add it. We're going to add him to the sports card investment report at nooffseason.com. Great work there, Greg.
So Logan Sargent might be a good play. But anyway, the phase after the prospecting was investing in sport legends. So more and more people are trying to get Michael Schumacher cards, Ayrton Senna, and they're eventually gonna, you know, want to have to their collection to add a few pieces of probably Vettel and Alonso, you know, but their prices, I don't, and Kimi Räikkönen as well, but I don't see their prices going up, you know, soon, anytime soon. I think it's a long-term investment, a long-term play, just like when you buy vintage cards, you wouldn't see a card spike up in value for no reason. It's just, you know, with the course of the card market going to go long term. So that's why that's how I would, and it's just my opinion, but that's how I would treat investing in Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel there, because Vettel is going to be out at the end of the season. He announced that he was done with driving in F1. He's probably going to stay around with the drivers, you know, as their drivers union representative to F1, but he wants to be involved also in you know, in environmental causes. And Alonso, we'll see where Aston Martin goes next year, but this year the car is a total disaster, and Vettel and Lance Stroll are doing a great work actually with these cars. So we'll see where it goes, but I mean, I don't see Alonso fighting for wins next year as well, you know. But he's gonna be very, very big though in Drive to Survive next season. With everything that's happening right now, make no mistake about it.
Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that. I mean, have we seen in the past, or do you think it's possible that we would see a card spike when that airs for certain people that happen to be like, is that, I mean, there's actually really no real way to predict that other than kind of what you just did, which is kind of impressive, like following the drama of the season and then speculating what storylines might be highlighted on the upcoming Drive to Survive, and then making card plays around that. Is that a thing? Or are we just making that up for the first time on this show?
Well, you said it yourself that you're super excited now to see Oscar Piastri, because we're talking about him and there's drama everywhere around him right now.
So maybe
what is Drive to Survive outside of bringing attention to F1 and drama? That's exactly it. I mean, if there would be any, I don't know, selling Sunset Stars cards, they would be selling when they release a new season. That's exactly
true.
it, because everyone watches this show. It's going to be the same thing with Drive to Survive next year. It's going to be as popular as ever. Plus, we're having 3 races on American soil. So this brings even more attention to F1. And let's look, if we have Logan Sargent also driving for Williams instead of Nicholas Latifi, that could be even more interesting, bringing even more eyes on the sport. So that's just all it is. I don't think, I just put it in there as a joke, but I don't think that Fernando Alonso's price market will spike because he's going to be featured in one episode and people are going to, find him likable. But is it going to be bringing more people that will want to grab, F1 cards? I think so. That's what happened this year, actually.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. Well, I want to give a shout out to Ziggy, who's in the live chat. Ziggy, what's up? Thanks for chiming in here. We appreciate that. And we have some live viewers. So if any of you have any questions for Greg or I on F1, just let us know and we will we'll answer. So I am always excited to have Greg on, and he's a phenomenal addition to our team on the F1 side. And so we are going to wrap up our episode of the F1 Card Strategy Show now, and we wanted to keep it fast and furious, pardon the pun, for F1. But
I love it.
Greg, I stole that from you because you messaged me that earlier, so thank you for that one. But anything else you want to add before we sign off, Greg? Great work today, and thanks everybody for tuning in.
Well, nothing to add. I mean, I see that there's been a huge dip in the market. There's been a correction of all the market, but at the same time, we saw some prices going up a little more. George Russell is one of them. We saw that his prices were starting to go up. Lewis as well. So that might be a good time to start and looking into investing in your favorite drivers.
Awesome. Well, Greg, great work. I'll talk to you again soon. Everybody, thanks so much for watching and listening to the F1 Card Strategy Show, episode 6. I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com. That was Greg Lanctot, also with NoOffSeason.com, the Sports Card Content Network. Please check out the Sports Card Investment Report at NoOffSeason.com. Use the promo code NoOffSeason, all lowercase, at checkout if you want to save 20%. We've got over 300 player profiles in the investment report, all there to help you make money investing in sports cards and having fun, having some good entertainment. Also, we used graphs and charts in today's episode from marketmoversapp.com. That premium product has just relaunched. It's a lower price point and a improved user interface design. Definitely check it out. You can get your first month for only $1 by using the promo code NOOFFSEASON at checkout. Thanks to everybody for watching in the live feed. Thanks to everybody for listening on Spotify and Apple. If you have a question for us, like I said, drop it in the comments or tweet at NoOffSeasonCard. You can also join the Facebook group if you go to sportscardstrategy.com if you're not a YouTube person. If you are a YouTube person, definitely comment on the video or ask a question on the actual video. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify and or watching on somewhere else, and you're not a YouTube person, join the Facebook group. Go to sportscardstrategy.com and click the quick link to join the Facebook group. Everybody, thanks so much for watching and listening. Have a great day.